welcome to this all exclusive on the 1,000 days of your administration. 1,000 days ago, you took over the reign of leadership of Liberia. How has the journey been so far?
It's been a good journey, but not without difficulties. We've tried to restore Liberia's international credit worthiness. We've tried to put some of our domestic financial house in order. We've tried to get the economy going. But we still haven't resolved some of the challenges of unemployment, of corruption, of better capacity in government.
When you took over steering the state of ship, Liberia was considered a failed state in a post-conflict situation. What are those measures that you have put in place to replace this image?
Well, as I said, we've tackled our debt, for example. Liberia had not serviced its external debt, 3.7 billion of it, since the 1980s. Today, we are well on the way to debt relief and expect to be fully free of that debt before the end of 2009. We've started to expand the economy. Last year, we grew at 9.5%, coming from a time when we had negative growth. Our mines, our agriculture concession, our rubber industry, are all trying to be reactivated. We've restructured the civil service, removed ghost lines, we've raised civil service salaries. We've increased revenue from 80 million when we came to close to 300 million today. We've started to tackle infrastructure. We brought lights and water into the city for the first time in 14 years, trying to reconstruct the roads and bridges that have not been maintained for 2 decades. And we've restored hope to our people, perhaps more importantly, that today they see a future in which not only are they full stakeholders, but a future that will have a government they can have confidence in, that will be able to respond to their needs. The international community has responded very positively to all the measures we have taken, and they now see Liberia as a potential post-conflict success story, although we realize we have a long way to go. Peace and security. Today, yes, we have armed robberies, but Liberians, at least in most places in the country, can sleep in the night knowing that they're not going to be attacked, knowing that they don't have to run again. And so the peacekeeping forces with us, our own security forces are being retrained, being professionalized. All in all, in the 2.5 years of this government, I think we've come a long way today. I hope all Liberians can be proud that when they walk up to an immigration line and they show a Liberian passport, instead of in past years, people begin to be suspicious of their motives. Today, people smile, welcome them, and ask how your country is faring. I think that's a good thing.
Among the many socio-economic problems your government is confronted with, the fate of the war-affected youth appear much of the challenge. What has your government done and is still doing for them?
We're trying to get the war-affected youth, particularly the ex-combatants, trained in a skill that will enable them to become employed and to gain back their dignity. For many of them, we're trying to see if they get back into school, those who are still of school age. There's vocational training going on in many places, but we still have a challenge with them because, as I say, they don't have a skill. And until we can get them imparted with skills, it'll be difficult for them to get the real good jobs that will enable them to support their families adequately. Many of them are doing petty trading. We hope we can get some microcredit loans to enable them to be able to take care of themselves in that manner. So it's an ongoing process of trying to respond to their needs. Some of them do volunteer work on silver works and whatnot. That earns them some money. But it's a challenge we will continue to meet, and it will take us some time to be able to get them to where we want them, where they are fully participants in our economic reconstruction, where they have the skills and can get the jobs that will enable them to be self-sufficient.
Education is key to development. The education of the girl child is even critical. You have focused a lot on this. How satisfied are you with the progress in this field?
We're not fully satisfied because there's still too many young girls not in school. Now, As everyone knows, we enforce compulsory primary education in public schools. As a result, our enrollment in those schools have increased over 40%, and the majority of those are girls. So we're pleased about that. We also went beyond government's own scarce resources, and we launched what we call the Liberia Education Trust, which aims at giving 5,000 scholarships to girls, besides literacy training, school renovation, and the training of teachers. Well, today, over 1,400 girls in the 2 years of this program have benefited from scholarships, many of them from rural areas where they never would have had the opportunity to go to school. But as I said, as we continue to push for enrollment, for higher enrollment, we find we don't have enough school facilities. We don't have enough teachers. We don't have enough books throughout the schools. And so that has constrained a little bit the progress we want. But we're getting a positive response from the women, who want to see their young girls go to school, who want them to be better than they are in terms of their potential as professionals. We just recently had Nike, the famous sports company, announce an initiative for Liberia where they're going to train 1,500 young women between the ages of 16 and 24. And they're going to train them for specific jobs in the private sector, in the mining industry or the agriculture industry, where they know that once they are trained, they don't have to go look for a job. Their job will be identified and they will go right into those jobs. We also have another initiative that's coming from Humanity International and the Goldman Sachs, the major investment firm in the United States, in which they are going to come and train here through Cuttington College young women who can apply for loans under the private sector facilities for businesses, so they can be able to know how to write their project proposal to enable them to go to business. That will be a wonderful opportunity for many of the young women who maybe haven't graduated from high school, want to go into business rather than going to college. So, like I say, when I say we are not fully satisfied, because we want to do even more. We think we have to do even more to get a larger number of our girls into all of these programs where they can be able to rise above the neglect that they have had over the many years of warfare.
There's more focus on girls than the general gender sector. Why girls?
Because the girl child, starting from there, been neglected. As everyone knows, and the records are shown, empirical evidence is there, that when you have poor families and there's not enough money to send all the children to school, and there are a large number of children, obviously the families put priority on boys because they see boys as the breadwinner, the head of the family. And so girls have been neglected over time. So it's a question of trying to redress that inequality and give affirmative action to girls so that they can be able to catch up.
On the security front, Liberia has now a new army, reforms in the police force, and continuous assessment of training needs. Are these adequate for the kinds of challenges to the peace we now enjoy?
Yes, I think they are. If these programs achieve the results that have been planned, we should have security force overall, whether we're dealing with the new army or the police or the other security units. They should be properly trained, they should be professional. They should also know that part of their function is not only to protect the citizens, but to respect their rights and all of that. And they should be properly equipped to be able to respond to any kind of danger that might disrupt the peace. We haven't yet reached a place where they're fully there. I mean, Liberia has a long history of indiscipline. And so sometimes you see demonstration or reaction, even among the security forces, as an expression of their dissatisfaction with this thing or the other thing. And that tells you that our job is not complete. We must continue to work, to train, to educate them to what their role is in society, how they too must be a constructive force, even within the army, We want to train an engineering battalion, so not only are they ready to respond to any threat to national security, but they are also part of the development process of the country. So we've come a long way, but I'm confident that we're on the right track and that our security forces will rise to the challenge.
You are almost midway in your tenure. What are your plans for the second half of your term? What are the major plans?
Or to speed up the development process, to accelerate everything that we do under our 4 pillars. Peace and security, get those security forces trained, so as UNMIL begin to draw down, they can take on that responsibility. On our economic revitalization, get all the mines, the agriculture section, the rubber sector, our food production, responding to the crisis, get people back on the farms, large-scale mechanized rice production, get all of that functioning. On our 3rd pillar, governance and the rule of law, we have a lot of challenges there to get our judiciary system and our courts working properly with the right justice and whatnot, get our civil service restructured and functioning at the capacity to deliver efficient and effective service to the people. But we're going to try and accelerate that. Under our infrastructure, obviously, we have to get more lights, more water, better roads, get our ports fixed. So in these 2 years coming, I hope that Liberians will see a big scaling up of the activity in this regard. But let me just say, it will only happen if every Liberian take a part in this, each one doing his or her part, whether you're in government, whether you're in the private sector, whether you're in the opposition parties. If you want to see Liberia move ahead, where you will benefit no matter where you come from, what party, what county, what religion, what tribe, if you want to see Liberia get to a place where you benefit, then you must be a contributor to that process.
The economy has seen steady growth. You have been placed, Liberia has been placed in a debt waiver or cancellation strategy. Are these sustainable? And secondly, are they helping your development agenda?
Yes, they are. Once we have carried out, our debt relief program, it means Liberia has the potential to access facilities that will enable us to do even more in terms of increasing economic growth, expanding our responses to both economic, social infrastructure, to jobs, to housing, one of the main areas that we're really working on now, because that's a major constraint. Yes, we think that we've done a whole lot, but once we get past that, the potential to do even more for development of the country will be enhanced.
The poverty reduction strategy is a key policy of your government. How is the ordinary man or woman featured in this? How do they become a part?
Ultimately, they are the major beneficiaries of it, but there's a time lag. From the time you start to reactivate the mines and the agriculture sector, and that, it doesn't happen overnight. So, because that's where the jobs are. That's where the social benefits in terms of, what conditions workers live on. But they don't happen in 1 year. The first couple of years, we have spent trying to attract private capital and investment, trying to put our economic and financial house in order, trying to address all the many areas that we inherited, whether it was for civil servants or army personnel or legislators, trying to settle all of those things. So this time now, we've increased civil service pay. When we came, we were getting something like $15 a month. Today, civil servants are getting $70 a month. But we know we still have to go more because of the cost of living increase. So, but as more jobs are created, as we begin to fix all the infrastructure where the average person will be able to get lights and water into their homes, when the roads are fixed and they can get their food to market at a reasonable cost, that's how the average citizen is benefited. That's how we lift them out of poverty. So this strategy is meant to reach the grassroots person. The only thing we ask is a little bit of patience, because you've got to build up to the point where it really reaches them. It's touching them now. We've created many jobs. We've increased salaries and all of that. But now we have to deepen the process so it can reach a larger number of people, particularly those in rural areas, and it can reach them in a more significant way.
So many would love to emulate your life achievements. All around the world, you are known as the star of Africa. How many rest or reflection or even celebration will you be doing on that day? Will you rest and then it's going to work every day? Are you going to rest on that day, Madam President?
Oh, I don't have plans. There are other people who have plans for me that I'm trying to discourage. You know, I just rather sleep that day and get some rest. That's what I would rather do. Other people have their own ideas as to how I should spend my birthday. So they and I will have to reconcile that.
Okay. Looking back, what have been the greatest challenges you face over the years before being president and as president?
My greatest challenge is the greatest potential. Making Liberia a prosperous, productive place where equity and equal opportunity can be assured to every Liberian. It's been a long road for me in that regard, and I don't want to, at this point, go into the reasons why. That will evolve as people learn my life story. But it's a big challenge because Liberia is a very complicated place. And over the years of warfare and division, our complexities, our historical complexities have even intensified. So how do we get our country on this road? Small country, 3.5 million people, richly endowed by God, should not be poor. Every citizen in this country should be able to live in a certain measure of prosperity and development. Why we have not achieved that? That is my biggest challenge, to put us on this irreversible road toward a nation that is prosperous, that is peaceful, that responds to the needs of its citizens. And to do that, you've got to change minds and attitudes, if I may use our Minister of Information famous slogan. People have to see their country as a country they are proud of, a country they want to work for, a country that has a national identity, a country they believe in and want to make successful. And sometimes it's very difficult for us to see that positivism in how we contribute to the nation's development. Progress has been made, but we have to keep working at it.
Any special words for your people, the people of Liberia?
Again, to say to the people of Liberia that they should be proud of themselves. We've come a long way. And when you consider that for the past 25 years we've been in economic free fall, 14 of those years we've been in civil conflict. The last 5 years we've had peace, relative peace, despite all the obstacles. Can we now together build upon that?